Alright guys, you got your boy Stingren here today, and today, we are here with some reverse 1999 content, and today we're going to be doing our showcase for Little Miss Anjo Nyla. Yes, I wanted to do this showcase now, after I got all the initial videos out about Anjo. I did the team video, I did the summons. I still have to come back to do more summons so that I get my P5, of course, because I'm not leaving this banner until I get that P5. I did do a little bit of summons, and I did actually hit an off banner. I won't talk about who because you'll see it in a follow-up video because I did record it. But anyway, let's get started. Let's talk about what this woman does, and let's talk about why she is considered one of the most hyped things to come out of this game as of this patch. Alright, so we are here with the Anjo and Nyla showcase. I know you guys are excited as I am to talk about this beautiful succubus queen who can sing our hearts away, basically, because Jesus Christ. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about what Anjo Nyla does. We're going to talk about her inheritances, her skills, cubes, portrays, resonance, all of that good stuff. And we're going to be talking about why she is considered as one of the most versatile DPSs that this game has yet to offer because of the cool interactions that she has with, a gimmick within her kit. So let's go ahead and let's talk about it. So first things first, let's talk about her Insight 1. Whenever Anjo Nyla enters the battle, she can choose an ally to bind with. This type of binding is determined by the affiliates of the character that she binds to, and she provides enhancements to both of those characters. When you bind with a spirit or intelligence based character, you get 4% attack and max HP boost, which is pretty cool. When you bind with beast and plant, you get 8% critical damage and reality defense boost, which is again really nice. And when you bind with mineral star, you get 8% crit rate and mental defense boost, which is again very nice. The fact that she gives pretty much the most relevant boost in DPS's attack crit rate and crit damage, crit damage is pretty great. I mean, she binds up with anyone. She's getting one of the most relevant boosts for a DPS, so that's already really good. Anjo Nyla's max Moxie is changed to 12, while ultimate Moxie cost or consumption is changed to 8, which is again very nice. And the bound ally cannot gain or cast ultimates. All Moxie gained by the bound ally will be transferred to Anjo Nyla instead. Now, before I talk about this, I am gonna just hold this thought to talk about why this is very important, but hold for just that moment. At Insight 2, she gets critical defense plus 15% whenever she enters the battle. Again, very nice. So if you even do the beast plant, she gets an additional 8% on top of that, which is not bad. I mean, what is that like? What is that? That is but 23% crit damage, I believe. I think that's 23% crit damage that she gets on hand. And that's actually pretty nice. I mean, just out of the gate without really doing anything, she links with a beast or plant character, or 8% crit rate and 50% critical damage, which she links with a mineral or star character. So I mean, already giving herself a little bit of amplification for crit rate, crit damage is already a huge plus, because again, that is what most DPSs want, is crit rate, crit damage, and of course attack, and some of the other things like damage bonus and other helpful things. But for the most part, crit rate, crit damage is going to be what you want the most for most of your DPSs. If you ever looked at any builds for most of the relevant DPSs, everyone pretty much advises that you build them for crit because there's obviously higher damage output that's involved for critting. So there's that. Anyway, at Insight 3, after the bound ally actively casts an incantation, if Anjo Nyla is in the status, reduces the duration of status by 1 round and triggers the additional effect based on the binding's type. If Mind of Flesh, which is the Spirit and Intelligence link, she will automatically cast a 1 cast of Feast of Lust, which is her attacking skill, which is going to do a follow-up attack on the lowest HP percentage, which is not bad. It can get a little bit annoying depending on the type of enemies that you're focusing, because if you're hoping to focus a specific enemy, then you're going to have to try to put some extra damage on an enemy, because if they have a lower HP total, then Anjo's just going to attack them and not the enemy that you preferably want to hit. But again, ultimately, it's still just extra damage, so there's that. Bone and Blood, she will gain 1 additional Moxie. So basically what this means is whenever an ally that is binded by Bone and Blood, which is Beast and Plant, right, you would basically get 2 Moxie on Anjo instead of the 1. So you know how you get the 1 Moxie for selecting a card, and then you just kind of go from there. Instead of you just getting that 1 for selecting the card, she gets 2 for selecting the card as part of the bonded ally. So prime example of what I talked about in the teams video, of being like Spahothea, right, where she always usually goes to 2 actions, you buff attack, and that's 4 Moxie for Anjo, which is basically halfway to her ult already, which is pretty nice. And Form and Phantom, I like that. Form and Phantom, I love that link name. Anyway, Anjo Lila casts 1 Angel's Temptation up to 2 times per round. It says 3 here because mine is P1, and I was actually mistaken about this. I want to thank the people that corrected me on this, but it was actually it's 2 times per round at P0, but if you get it to P1, then it's 3 times per round, which means our Mineral Star pairing actually isn't as terrible as I thought it was. Not to say that it wasn't terrible to begin with, because you're still getting the crit rate, and you're still getting the extra follow-up damage boost, even if you're just getting 1. I just said it could have been a little bit better. That's really what I was saying. But I mean, with 2 follow-ups at a minimum, that's still pretty good. Now let's talk about one thing about Anjo and how she's the most versatile DPS in this entire game. Now the reason being why she's so versatile is because she's primarily a unit that can really fit in any type of style of content, because you just need somebody who can link off to trigger the extra boost, right? For example, if you're going against a boss that spawns a lot of ads, right, then you would think to go in with the character who would give you the mineral or star benefit of being able to cast the Angel's Temptation every single time that the bonded ally does an action, or she herself can be able to cast it as well when she reaches a respective amount for a helm effect. So that's really, really good. If you needed a single target boss, right, then you just link off with the Spirit or Intelligence, and guess what? You get the exact same thing. You get the exact same link effect. You get not the exact same link effect. You get the exact same benefit of being able to cast a single target follow-up, and again being able to chip down on the him effect to then cast a nice strong AoE follow-up. And that's really, really, really good. That makes her super, super versatile, because both of her follow-up options actually deal respectable damage. It's not just like one's indefinitely better than the other. That's the one thing that's been the thing for a lot of the DPSs that we've had in the game, is when they do perform both single target and AoE. Prime examples being Marcus, Lucy, who else is both AoE? I mean, there's a fair amount of units that are AoE and single target. It's usually one's better than the other, right? Where I feel like Lucy AoE, she's well known for being the best AoE unit in the game, despite Lucy having a single target skill. But there's more applications of AoE in Lucy's kit as opposed to single target. The same can be said about Marcus. There's more applications of AoE in her kit as opposed to single target. So I mean, that's what really just makes her very versatile and very able to be used in a lot of the game's content, because you simply just have an incredible out to either help you or act as a main DPS with the proper linking to be able to help get down on that content, or just be able to chip down at the respective content. And I would just say this, man, despite everything, Anjo Lila is a freaking monster, dude. She is so freaking good. But anyway, let's go ahead and let's talk about her skills. Long story short, I just think that Anjo Lila is an incredible unit, DPS wise, being really good for versatility, and being very good in both forms of the DPS she's able to perform, where it's not necessarily one's better than the other. It's just basically relevant for the form of content. It makes her an incredible standout for a lot of the content going forward. Let's talk about her main attacking skill, which is called Feast of Lust. This is a 1 target attack that can deal a maximum of 450% mental damage and inflicts titillated on the target for 2 rounds. And if Anjo Lila is in the Hum status, reduces the remaining Hum duration by 1 round. And when attacking, for every type of negative status, this attack has an increased modifier for 40% of mental damage. So for every negative statuses that you can put up on Anjo, for example, she can deal an additional 40% modifier to this attack, technically even more. So you still get the 1% duration, you get 450%, but you get 100% boost on like a 3-star, you get 60% on a 2-star. So yeah, the really cool thing about this combination with Spirit and Intelligence linking, and this is why I recommended 6, is because Spirit and Intelligence has some really good options for negative status. You have Isolde for burn, you have 6 who can put up a variation of negative statuses, you have Anjo herself who could put up negative statuses as due to her ult. You even have some weird niche options like Click, who can put up some type of negative status. Like, I think Lens Cap counts as a negative status if I'm not mistaken, but Yeah, they have really good combinations for being able to help increase this modifier. So that's actually really good. Even if you are using the AoE link, you still can get benefit from this bonus because again, it's not just like debuffs aren't specifically tailored for spirit or intelligence characters only. No, there's debuffs in basically every role. So like if you're using Marcus as a beast plant link, right? You have Marcus's annotate status, that's a negative status. You have Argus's pinpointed, that's a negative status. You know what I mean? Like there's still multiple ways where you can really accelerate this modifier. And this is of course gonna tie in when I talk about the ultimate too. Next up is going to be her channeling effect. Now her channeling effect is actually a little bit unique. It's not like the other channeling effect. Like if you think about channel, you think about Jew, but her channeling effect actually doesn't make her immobile. What it does is it puts her in a home status for 7 rounds, and when his channel ends, cast Anjo's Temptation. When casting this incantation, Anjo 9 is already in a home status, reduces the duration of home status by 1 round. This of course can be increased up to 3 rounds. So basically, this is going to be her way to trigger the effects of the bonuses that you get. Whenever you use Anjo, you want to channel immediately because this is going to be able to let Anjo do the AoE follow-up from Mineral and Star. This is going to allow her to do the single target follow-up from Spirit and Intelligence. This doesn't necessarily matter for the extra Moxie effect because you just get that straight up out the gate, I think. But you do want to always channel with her first. That way you respectfully get the bonuses, right? That's what you say. You just get the bonuses. So for all the bonuses, you just want to simply just go ahead and do it that way, and you just kind of go from there. You just kind of move. So there's that. And then we're going to talk about her ultimate, Interwoven Dreams. It's a self-channeling effect where both her and the bounded ally enter a channeling state. Now this one is exactly like Juice. Whenever you cast a channel state, she can't do any other action. So make sure whenever you use Anjo's ult, you use it last. So the last available action by either Anjo or the bounded ally, this is what the thing you're gonna do last. So for just simple convenience, always cast her ult last. In your last available, AP field of cards, just use it last. Anyway, at the start of the round, the bounded ally loses 50% of max of their HP and casts their ultimate, and then Anjo will cast her own ultimate. It's a mass attack that inflicts 2 random debuffs, and these are all the debuffs she can inflict. She can inflict blind, nasty wound, misaim, weakness, scared, confusion, and fracture, which is pretty nice. And it deals 500% mental damage to all enemies. And for every type of negative status held among all enemies, this attack deals an additional 60% mental damage, which is, of course, what I was talking about earlier with the whole spirit and intelligence thing, where, pairing off with 6, you can get a lot of extra damage. I mean, getting just 3 negative statuses on the enemy is 180% modifier, which makes it a 680 AoE mod, which is kind of spicy. I mean, the fact that we can put up, a total of 8 debuffs and they can all potentially be negative statuses, that's a lot of damage you can really pile up on Anjo very quickly, very aggressively, especially if you're able to just get all unique statuses or all negative statuses on an enemy very quick, very fast. So that is basically just the general TLDR of that. Of course, again, this still works if you're using other applicable candidates. Again, like I talked about the Marcus Argus thing, or I talked about other characters who can put up negative statuses. So long as it's a negative status that can be put up, that's going to be a modifier boost. And the fact that she puts up the 2 random debuffs immediately before attacking, that means that this effectively has a 120% mod just out of the gate by itself, which makes it a 620% mod, which is not bad. I mean, making it 620% mod out of the gate, pretty good, pretty darn good. So yeah, those are her skills. Let's talk about her cube preference. So obviously you want to get her own cube, Transcendent Love. It's free from the shop, so that's kind of just the general TLDR. Again, you won't be able to get Anjo again because she's a truly limited character. So if you're gonna go out the way to get Anjo, get her cube. It's literally there, and also all you need to do is just play the game, because basically every stage gives you, well, not every stage, but mostly everything that you can do, like from daily grinds to to residence farm, to sharpen diamonds and dust farming, can give you the currency that you need to buy this cube. So there's really no reason for me to not to recommend anything else. Obviously, if you're lower on polarizations, another fine option that you can absolutely run is actually Blab Shimmer. Blab Shimmer is still good because, again, 2 or more negative statuses for 24% damage dealt up in incantation, which is actually pretty good for her follow-ups. I mean, that's still really, really good that you can run for her. But again, ultimately, I prefer her own cube because you get a really, really good effect. As you can see, you get damage bonus plus 1.6%, which stacks up to 10 times. And you get additional 4% crit rate and 4% crit damage that stacks up to 4 times, which is 16% each, which is very, very, very strong. This is at A5, though. So at A1, I believe it's 1% for 4 times, and I think this is I want to say 0.4% if I'm not mistaken. But that is going to be what I recommend for her cubes, is just get her own. Just get her own. All you gotta do is just play the game, progress, make the time, and eventually over time you'll get enough polarizations. Because I know polarizations can be a little bit limited to get, but again, if you already have a built up Blab Shimmer, then that's totally fine to use as an alternative. Let's talk about her portrays. Now mine is P3. I am still trying to go for P5, but let's talk about what it does. Anyway, so Oathbound, Foreman Phantom follow-up attack can be casted 3 times, and Angel Temptation mental damage is increased to 250%. This is really good. Really, really good. Again, an extra follow-up. It depends on how aggressive the bounded ally could be, because basically, if you pair her like with 37, you could technically get away with 3 attacks in 1 turn, or you can get away with using Jew for 3 attacks in 1 turn, or even just another character that's just in that field. There's definitely a situation where you can most definitely be able to cast 3 follow-ups in a single turn, and again, that's 3 AoE individual follows, which is really, really going to help chip down her him status, and that's going to be able to really get her way quicker to that follow-up counter. I mean, not the follow-up counter, but the follow-up attack, the big one that's going to deal more damage. So there's that. And speaking of the big follow-up, at P2, Twin Phantoms, when Angel Temptation is casted from a completed channel, so that means when your home status reaches 0, the mental damage is increased to 375%, and the attack reduction from Captivated is boosted to 15%, so 375, again, making this a more stronger, more potent modifier. Again, very, very good for our personal damage output, and that's that. And at P3, Interwoven Dreams, the mental damage is increased to 600% from our base 500% modifier, and for every type of negative status, damage dealt is increased to 100%, and Bone and Blood's additional Moxie is gained to +2. So this means that Bone and Blood actually becomes super, super crazy now, because now remember what I said before when I talked about Bone and Blood being a minimum of 4 Moxie. If you use 2 actions, that becomes 6 Moxie, which technically, if you end up having the ability to do so, you end up being able to potentially get off a turn 2 ultimate with Anjo. You potentially can, because what can likely happen here, right, is if you channel with Anjo, and then you do 2 actions by the bounded ally, that's 7 Moxie. And then you can get lucky, get a fuse, boom, that's 8. You got ultimate. Congratulations. Turn 2 ultimate, which is kind of sick, and then you're getting another modifier boost for 600% plus 100%. And as I mentioned before, the Bear 2 minimum, that's going to be a 200% boost, making this an 800% modifier from what we talked about earlier being a 620% modifier, which is, again, very, very, very potent, very, very strong. So, I mean, if anything, it either just means turn 2 or turn 3 ultimate. That's it. It's just turn 2 or turn 3. I mean, that's really just what it is. So, but turn 2 ultimate is actually pretty insane. But that's really if you're only running it for a 4-man team, though, by the way. Anyway, at P4, so the stat bonuses are changed. So as you can see here, Mind and Flesh stat bonus is 8%, Bone and Blood is 18%, and Form and Phantom is 18%. So the respective bonuses that you get, so Mind and Flesh is 8% attack in HP, Bone and Blood is the crit damage one, I believe, so that's going to be 18% crit damage, and 18%, I want to say reality defense, I could be forgetting already, and then Form and Phantoms are going to be 18% crit rate, and then the 18% mental damage, which is going to be, and mental defense, my bad, mental defense, which is going to be, good. That's just basically going to make her stronger for building up for that respective role, and it makes it easier to be able to crit. It makes it easier to be able to deal a little bit more damage. So, yeah. And the stack requirement for Titillated to Captivated becomes 2. This is really good for specific content where you can actually captivate the bosses, because this means that you get a much easier time being able to stun lock bosses. If you guys don't know, this is actually a pretty crazy trick with P4 Anjo where you can actually stun lock bosses. This is more so relevant for more like easy, like low level content that's able to be put up by her titillated effect, right? If there's something that can't be affected by titillated, then obviously you can't really do anything about it. But if you can, in the case of like the new story mode, for example, the new chapter 8 boss, if you want to just have an easier time, you have a P4 Anjo, you can effectively stun lock the boss if you're able to get the stacks going very quick. So there's that. And then at P5, which is the final one, the number of random debuffs inflicted by collection deals is increased to 4. So this means just out of the gate, no negative statuses, right? That is 140 times 4, which comes up to a very high total of 560%. So it's the 600% mod that's right here, plus this 140% boost that's times 4, which of course then can still be further amplified, by the way, by other supports. So this makes it a 1100 something mod. Yeah, it's like 1160 mod, I think, that the ultimate becomes at P5, which is disgusting. That's honestly very strong, very disgusting. But if you want my honest opinion of where you should stop at for dupes for Anjo, I would honestly say P1 is good enough. P1 giving you the extra follow-up. If you want just the extra Twin Phantoms damage, P2 is also a pretty good stopping point. It's either P1 or P2 for me. Like, I would think those are really good stopping options for you to be able to perform what you need to do with Anjo. So that's what I recommend for most people. Let's talk about her resonance pattern next. So she has 2 builds. I've seen 2 builds. I've seen the standard build. They're both critical related builds. They don't really change too much in terms of stat. For the main thing being crit rate, crit damage, and damage bonus. They're basically the same. I mean, you can choose whichever one and you're getting exactly the same benefit. The only thing that one is definitely is just there's a little less attack on the second build, which not the biggest fan of. I kind of like having the perfect 2k attack on the nose, because look at that, it's perfect 2k attack. I mean, 2k attack on the nose is actually pretty incredible. I mean, right on the nose, I mean, come on, man. But it really just ultimately depends up to you. None of them really change anything from the damage bonus to crit rate, crit damage bonuses, as you can see right there. So as you can see, it's 29% damage bonus, you have 30% crit bonus, and you have 39.5%, so basically 40. Right, but if I switch over to the other build, which has the lesser attack, it is essentially the same. Like 30% damage bonus. Well, it's a little bit more damage bonus, but 38% crit damage, which is a little bit more, just a little tiny bit more. But yeah, it doesn't really change definitively, so to speak. It doesn't really change, you know? As you can see, yeah, 29, it's just a little less crit damage here, but it's still the 29 that's here. So yeah, like over and all, I mean, either or build works out for you, it works out for you. But I kind of like the little bit more attack, a little bit more. But of course, if you really do want to have a little bit of extra critical damage and a little bit of extra crit damage reduction, I think this is definitely the better option, because again, it's just, again, more damage over time. So there's that. But anyway, we've talked about Anjo. This is the longest I've ever talked about a character, 24 minutes. Jesus. Anyway, let's get right into it. Let's go and do some showcase content, and let's go and use her in some content. Alright, so this is going to be using her in a form of AoE based content. So we're going to be using her with the pairing of 37. 37 is a really good pairing for her because obviously 37 is a fairly active character. There's also other characters you can use like Windsong and stuff like that that you want to use for a star. But I like 37 because since you're going to be doing follow-ups, you're filling up her Eureka anyway. So I figured it, why not? Why not kind of make the strategy? Of course, we're going to be running Vila for the mental boost, and we're going to be running Mercuria for the critical rate, critical damage boost. Same with Vila. And yeah, let's get right into it.
Come together to conquer this great wave.
So of course we're gonna bind, and so obviously, as I said before, make sure you always do this first, because as soon as you take your actions with 37, that's what's gonna trigger the AoE follow up. We're gonna buff Anjo, and we're just gonna double attack with 37 because that's just gonna give us 2 follow-ups automatically, so that's gonna be really important. So we'll buff with Merc next turn so we can get the extra crit rate and stuff. There we go. We already took out the shield almost, which is really good. Boom. There we go, we got the absolute defense, which again, not really a problem because we're about to get rid of both of these shields in this turn, which is going to be really good. So let's go ahead and buff. We can actually, let me see, we're at 4 stacks. Can I accelerate enough this turn? I'm trying to think if I can to get the nice strong AoE follow-up. We will go that just to get our critical rate up. We'll go ahead and rebuff her just to do it. And then boom, 31k, not bad. And then that's gonna break everything. Then it's gonna be a follow-up. 24k, not bad at all. So it looks like we definitely get the AoE follow-up this turn. I'm gonna just kind of focus damage with her.
The sparkling of the sea, the shimmering of scales. There is always a light to follow.
I won't get the follow-up this turn. I actually should have did a little bit backwards. I actually did the attack card first. Well, actually, that doesn't even matter at all. Holy crap, dude. Didn't even get to use ult, by the way. That was a total of 70k without using ult.
To preserve this memory in our
I mean,
dreams.
we didn't even get to use the ult. Come on, Limbo. Limbo. Anyway, that's gonna be for that, but we're gonna go ahead and use her in some single target content, so I'll be right back. Alright, so we're running the same intelligence scene. I just put Argus in because I know this fight isn't necessarily super hard, so I don't really think I need to sustain. I just kind of want to get that extra, extra damage for Argus' sake. But again, we're running Vila again for the buff. We're running 6 for his inherent abilities to spread a lot of negative statuses to make Anjo Nyla's attacks a little bit more potent. And since we are using a single target follow-up, that's actually going to play a big part here. So anyway, let's get right into it. I also love how she kind of like looks at her tail. That's actually adorable. Anyway, of course, we bind to 6 for the attack and HP boost. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. We're gonna single target follow up, and we're going to put up Argus' effect to kind of add the extra damage. I won't really be doing too much with Lepera, honestly. I should, because actually Lepera can actually accelerate Anjo's stuff here, but I kind of want to show off, her own respective damage, you know what I mean? So we didn't get anything for 6 this turn, did we? We did not. So let me see if I can re-roll into something that's 6 related. Because even if we get his buff card, it still kind of helps. Nope, nothing. So I guess we will just buff with you. We put up the status and we will this and that, sure. And the next turn we can rebuff. Okay, 11k, not bad. That's just to accelerate the counter. Because I think we get the AoE follow-up the next attack. So he's going to be doing the big angry attack.
My skills build experience.
We'll
so
debuff.
slowly.
And I guess we could channel with Lapera. I mean, it doesn't really hurt anything. So,
The shimmering of scales. There is always a light to follow. Flash in the water.
with boom. And then, wow, 58k. See? That's what I'm talking about. All that extra damage is really kicking in. I mean, of course, this is boot. Wow, we got rid of the Phantom.
From the crucible.
I forgot about that, dude. I forgot she triggers the Phantom. That's actually insane. We got rid of the Phantom literally as it spawned in. Come on, dog. She's too good. She's too good. Alright, so I need to put up a debuff for sure. I got another bind to do. We'll give Vila some Moxie. We will just throw this versatile card, just kind of throw it in there. And then we can kind of just set up some damage for the next round. So, anyone need healing? Not really.
Ready? Aim. It dissipates.
Okay, there we go. Alright, so now we can do some damage this turn. So that's, of course, feed to Vila. This, sure, because we can kind of accelerate channeling effects, which, of course, Anjo's in. This, and this. Yeah, that's 3 single targets right there.
Wait for the pop.
By the way, this isn't what her ult does in the actual game. Well, the animation is, but not the effect. See? Oh, wow. It basically just made us do the thing. And she did 100k.
Don't act surprised.
She did 100k on
Being
ult.
on the job.
I mean, like, and this is what I'm saying. That's why it's so strong to get those boosts, man. Because, man, I know this is like story like related content, but Jesus Christ, bro, being able to just to kind of achieve that level of damage with, you know, with the proper supports and proper setups and everything. Don't get me wrong, is just absolutely insane. But anyway, that's gonna be it for this video, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy the Anjo Nyla showcase. If you want me to showcase her off and anything else, let me know in the comment section below. I'm definitely going to be messing around with her in the new raid that drops, I think, Tuesday, and then she'll be P3 by then, because, or P4 or P5, depending on what happens with the pulling. But anyway, this has been your boy Jess Jingle. See you guys next time. Peace.